Today on the 411, we bring you a special interactive interview with President Buhari's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. On the 411 today, we have Mr. Femi Adesina, the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity in the House. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Appointment was one of the, many, of course, one of the first to be informally announced as it went public about 3 weeks before President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in, in May 29th of last year. Yeah, there were rumors online, it was everywhere. So was this a job you had always considered a possibility?
No, I didn't consider it a possibility. I didn't think it was going to come. But one thing was quite clear. I had always supported the president in his quest to be elected. When he was military leader, I was in my third, fourth year in the university. So I really was I was an adult and aware of what was going on in the country. And I felt he was going to do very well for the country. So when he then was toppled, I felt quite bad. And I believed it was a setback for the country. So when he then went into partisan politics and sought to be president, I always supported him in my own little way. I was in the media. I had some influence in terms of writing a weekly column which was widely followed, and I always would say that I believed it was the best for the country. So when the election came and he won, I was quite glad, but coming to work for him was not... No, because if you see the job I held, I was editor-in-chief of the newspaper, I was managing director, I was president of the Nigeria Guild of Editors. I didn't think I was going to leave that.
That was going to my next question about, how you're transitioning now from being in, the managing director and chief editor of the Sun newspaper, which was a very high caliber job. I mean, it's one of Nigeria's leading newspapers. So, and now you serve in the capacity of special advisor to the president. How have you managed, to transition?
I had that job and the responsibility as president of the guild, and there were things I enjoyed doing. All my post-graduation life had been in journalism, and it's something I enjoyed doing. So I didn't think I was going to really leave it to work in government. Although I now recall that somebody had asked me years back if ever I could work in government, and I had told him that maybe a Muhammadu Buhari-led government, yes, I could work with it. That years back, years back I had said that. So, but when the election still happened, I didn't think it was something that was going to be on the cards at all. But eventually, when the offer came, I had to then think about it very seriously and then decided to take it.
So would you say your pace is faster now, or is it slower now? Or is it just different in a way? How would you say your pace of work is now?
Working as editor-in-chief of a media house was quite busy, very busy, because apart from ensuring that the place ran well professionally, you also needed to oversee the business as managing director. So it was a lot of work, very busy, because the overall health of the company was under your care. And now that one is presidential spokesman, a very busy job, very, very hectic, demanding, busy. So I just think what I'm doing now is an extension of what I was doing before. I was busy before, but I'm a lot busier now. But they are related in a way, because it's still media.
As the essay to the president on media and publicity, what informs your decisions on what major issues you want to address? Which ones you should give on an audience to, and which ones should you say, let it pass? So what informs your decision on, let's put this as an highlight. I think it's important news. And
our own thrust is not to be combative. Yeah. So you find that we don't react to almost everything. We have come to decide that yes, people have a right to their opinions, and we'll leave them to express that opinion. So you don't see this government being combative with the media. No, no. But if we see something that is uninformed, and yes, we needed to shed a light, we will do that. We will do that. But if anybody has written a piece that is very critical, we just say, well, he has a right to his opinion, and
let it slide.
Yes, we just let it go. But then, if it is uninformed, and we could then put the person in proper perspective, then we can do that.
Okay, so can we take a peep into what a typical day is like with the president, you know? Do you discuss newspaper headlines, or do you talk about, you know, social media posts? How does it work?
Right in our first week working together, he had told me that by 9 a.m. he will want the highlights of the press, or what the press is saying for the day. So that's the first thing we tackle as a department. Once we come, we look at the media, look through, and then develop highlights, what the media is saying about him, about his administration, and all that. And we get that out. Between 9 and 10, that is in his office. Wow. So when he comes in, it's one of the first things he looks at. Wow. In fact, he has told me that he first looks at the highlight, and then if he needs to consult the main paper again, then he goes to read more. Then he goes to do that. First goes through the highlight. Wherever we are in the world, he gets the highlight. Wow. Yes, even where.
How do you do that?
Because the media department is there. When we're outside the country, they also send it to us wherever we are by email. So even when he's away from home, he knows what the Nigerian media is saying. Yeah. So we try to stay on top of developments that way.
Now, let's talk about the devaluation of the naira, which is one of the major, if not number one topic of discussion right now. You know, what is the president's position on this?
No, well, he's the president. The buck stops at his table. What kind of president will just sit pretty and or different sorts of policies are being implemented under him and he doesn't have a say? No, no. This president is not like that. He said it somewhere during our last trip that if even his members of his economic team can convince him that the naira needs to be murdered, then if they can convince him to murder the naira and he is truly convinced, then he will devalue. But they need to convince him. His position is, what does Nigeria export? Just oil. Oil that we export is down now. So if you devalue, what gain do you get when you don't export? So you just devalue to suit some people. And if you, yes, you just devalue to suit some people and the country gets nothing. So that's why he's determined not to devalue the naira. And of course, you also know examples of countries that devalued their currencies. And
it's not done them well.
And yeah, exactly. They came out, Argentina, they came out the worse for it. So we've got to be careful about it. And the president is determined not to do anything that will increase the woes of the common people.
Okay. And for Boko Haram, what is the present state of the fight against Boko Haram?
If you want to know the current state, you also need to know what was the state of that insurgency when the president came in May last year. By the time he came into office, Boko Haram really was running riot around the country. They had a minimum of 14 local governments under their control. And when we talk of under their control, they were running the administration of those places. They had their flags planted They had set up caliphates in those areas, and they were administering it day to day. They were administering those areas, 14 local governments minimum, as I made last year. But as we speak today, they don't hold a single territory. Not a single Nigerian territory is under their control. They have been flushed out from all those 14 local governments. And so what do? They find soft targets to attack: churches, mosques, bus stops, IDP camps, and all that. Yes, markets and all that. They find a way to indoctrinate young girls, whom they feed with explosives, and they convince to go and detonate in a crowded place. So that's what they do now, which is extremely cowardly. But you recall that before this administration came, Boko Haram will go to military formations and launch attacks. They will go to police stations and launch attacks. They can't do that again. They cannot. Their capacity to do all that has been completely degraded. They can't do it. So that's why they have resorted to all these soft attacks.
Onto social media. You know, social media is presently playing a forerunning role, yes, as an effective news platform. So for someone coming from print journalism now, what do you think this represents for the print journalism?
I have also attended a number of conferences where this came up: World Editors Forum, Global Editors Network, in different parts of the world. And some of the conclusions were that, yes, social media is there. The threat is real to the printed word, but that the printed word will always be there.
We appreciate you. Well, you have been watching me have a chat with the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. This is the 411. Don't go anywhere. I'm Aanu Michael, and until the next showcase, stay tuned.